right here is the larynx, okay? And it's made up of two types of, well, there's one type of cartilage here that we talked about is the thyroid cartilage, and it's kind of this upper part, it's dark here. So if the kitty had an Adam's apple, it would be from this. Cats don't really have that though, okay? Now down at the bottom, the first ring of the trachea would be right here, and it's actually made of a special kind of cartilage called coracoid cartilage. And this first ring of the trachea, it's actually a complete circle, as opposed to just the C-shaped ring, okay? The rest of the trachea, you can see here, and if you put your finger in here, you can actually see feel where it opens to the back, okay? Now let's look inside the larynx. You can see the parts. This little flip right here that looks like a little bird beak, yeah, that's the epiglottis, okay? Now the hole that the air passes, yeah, is the glottis. And on either side, these little lips that look like a little Pac-Man mouth, which are these? Yeah, those are the true vocal cords. The big folds that kind of come down from the epiglottis here and they extend like this. Those are the false vocal cords. Okay. They extend down from the epiglottis. Alright, so larynx, trachea. We don't really see the bronchi because they're back behind the heart. We'd have to take out the heart to show them. Okay. But on either side of the heart, you can see the lungs. Yes, really nice lungs. Okay. And then you can see this stretched across the bottom here. This is the diaphragm. Okay, it may not be on your sheet, but I mean, it's a super easy gimme. Like, I pinned this on there, and people are like, oh, it's not on the sheet. I'm like, really? You can't tell that's a diaphragm? Okay, so that's the diaphragm. It's not on your sheet. They need to put it on your sheet. I keep telling them, they keep forgetting, but that's the diaphragm. Okay. Now, this is a little hard to see, but there's this membrane that just stretches between the heart and the diaphragm, and in that membrane there's a little white string. You can see me, just the very tip of my pointers on it right now. That right there is the phrenic nerve. So that's the one that tells the diaphragm to contract. And when it contracts, you breathe in. So right there, it's a little hard. I'm more likely to short answer that because it's really hard to get a pin in there. Because people are like, right, this is the diaphragm, or you want the lungs? So just to avoid confusion, I usually don't pin it, but you never know. Like if you end up having to take the test with somebody else, just let you know, some other TA may pin it, I probably won't, so. Yeah, alright. So now I'm going to move on to the cats. That's it for the respiratory. So next, first I'm going to start with the chest muscles, and I've kind of taken some time and sort of separated them out so they're a little easier to see here, okay? But this first muscle, we're going to go from top to bottom here, and this first stretches from right near kind of his clavicle out across to his shoulders, okay? This right here is the pecto anabrachialis. So with a lot of these muscles, we have something similar in our bodies. We do not have one of these. This pecto anabrachialis, just think pecto from chest and brachialis, it goes out to his arm. It's like a sash. You know, like Miss America, they give her the big sash. Okay, it's kind of like that. And we don't have one of these because this is what cats use for pouncing. We don't pounce, so we don't need a pecto anabrachialis. Okay. The next one right here, you can see where I've kind of separated it here. This right here makes this V shape. This is the pectoralis major. Okay. And actually the pecto anabrachialis actually sits on the top of it. So you can see I can peel this away, I can see the pectoralis major underneath. Okay. Just kind of FYI. Okay. Then the next one, this one also kind of forms a triangle shape, and you can see where it separates here. This right here is pectoralis minor. And you go another V shape here. But this one connects down to the little point on his sternum, and it goes up to his humerus. This is the xiphi humoralis. So xiphi because it connects to the xiphoid process in his sternum, and then humoralis because it goes up to his humerus. So I mean, if you can remember where it goes, it's pretty easy to remember the name. Okay. This next one, you can see right here. It's this flap, and it wraps around from his side to his back. Well, shoulder oblique's a little lower, but very close. Okay. Latissimus dorsi, because it goes from his like think lateral from his side, latissimus lateral side, and then dorsi goes to his back. Okay, latissimus dorsi. And then on either side, when we get down to his abdomen, you can see his belly here. On either side, these dark red muscles, these are the external obliques. They're a little lower. They're weird in the cat, because they got the long torso compared to us. Okay, these are the external obliques, and then sandwiched in here in the middle, you see this stuff with the shiny white covering, this is his rectus abdominis. These are his kitty abs. Okay. So it's kind of interesting. They're covered with this shiny white stuff is actually a tendon. And this sheath-like tendon covering is called an aponeurosis, or it's called aponeurosis, and it keeps these functional groups of muscle together and working as one. So you don't go work your ab, right? You work your abs, and it's this aponeurosis that keeps all these abdominal muscles working together as a group. Okay, so sheath-like tendon covering. Now we get to the legs. So I know the left and the right look pretty different here, right? But what we have here is this is the top layer of superficial muscle that we've left intact on the left leg, and then on the right, we've cut it away and pulled it back so we can see the muscle underneath. Okay. So with this top layer, you can separate these two muscles based on where this vessel runs right here. So if it's above the vessels, this is the sartorius, and if it's below, or this is the gracilis. So sartorius, gracilis. Okay. And I always remember the gracilis runs to his groin. It's the lower run, so gracilis groin. Okay. Now, we've peeled these away. We're looking at the layers of muscle underneath. And these guys you can also separate. You can see an artery, a vein, and a nerve running through here. You can separate by that line. And there are 3 muscles above that line and 3 muscles below that line. So above that line, 2 out of the 3 of these start with vastus. V-A-T-U-S. V-A-S-T-U-S, vastus, okay? The most lateral one, this guy right here, is the vastus lateralis, okay? This one right here, it's more medial, is the vastus medialis, and the one sandwiched in between, this is the rectus femoris, okay? Now, below that line, we also have 3 muscles, and 2 out of these 3 start with adductor. Not abductor, okay? They're not snatching our kitties up, okay? Adductor, A-D-D, okay? So this long, skinny one right here, this is the adductor longus, because it's long and skinny. This guy right here is the adductor femoris. And then this big guy right here is the semimembranosus. Okay, so that's it for the legs. Now let's look at our back kitty. Oops, sorry. Don't want to juice you up there. Okay. So with this, we have 6 main muscles. Let me kind of straighten them out a little bit. 6 main muscles that make up the back of the cat. We could also see the triceps brachii here. And then on the front, it's actually kind of underneath this muscle. You get the biceps brachii. Okay. Let me see if I can tease it out a little bit more. But biceps brachii is actually kind of in here underneath. Okay. But so with the back, we have 6 muscles. And the first, there's basically a system of prefixes and suffixes. The prefixes indicate where the muscles are from top to bottom. Like if it's higher, middle, or low. Okay. So if it starts with clavo, think of your clavicle. It's way up high, right? The clavos are the highest. The next 2 start with acromio. So think of like the acromion process on your shoulder blade, kind of in the middle. And then the lowest, spino, like your spine. Okay. And then they have suffixes. So if it ends in trapezius, it's more medial. If it ends in deltoid, it's more out to the arm. Okay, more lateral. Okay, so let's go through them. So you can see this one kind of coming off the side of his neck here. This one is the clavotrapezius. Okay. And then this one here that makes up the bump on the top of his shoulder is clavodeltoid. So clavotrapezius, clavodeltoid. Okay. So like when you make a big, like the bump on your shoulder, clavodeltoid. Okay. Clavotrapezius, it's one that stretches right here. Okay. There's slightly different names in humans, but I mean, if you can kind of draw a parallel, then you know it helps. Okay. Now the next one makes this big plate-like muscle on the back of his shoulder here. This is the acromiotrapezius. And this one I still gotta, let's see if I can find a scalpel and cut this. It's kind of just making it look ugly. This one right here, just under the clavodeltoid, this is the acromiodeltoid. Okay. So acromiotrapezius, and then acromiodeltoid. And you can see, like if you're in, you know, a sorority or fraternity where it's delta, right? It's a triangle shape. You can see it's triangle shaped here. Acromiodeltoid. Okay. And then last but not least, we have the spinotrapezius right here. And then right here, this one that kind of starts to go toward his armpit, this one is spinodeltoid. Okay, so I'm going to count them down in another order now. So, clavotrapezius, acromiotrapezius, spinotrapezius, glavodeltoid, acromiodeltoid, spinodeltoid. So I mean they go right in order. So you can remember clavo like clavicle, acromio like acromion process, spino like your spine. Okay, trapezius more toward the midline of his back, deltoid more out to his arm. It's pretty easy. Okay, I think that's everything for the counts. Okay. And so you guys.